It is a months-long investigation, all based on one simple notion. If we want to confront hate in our communities, we have to be willing to see it for what it really is.
Tonight, our chief investigative reporter, Phil Williams, continues his Hate Comes to Main Street investigation. Phil, you say this is not something we can just wish away.
Yeah, and unfortunately not. My investigation of hate in our communities began last fall with Gabrielle Hanson and her campaign for Franklin mayor. As you're about to see, there's still a lot of work to do. But first, a quick warning. Some of what you are about to see is disturbing. This is what it looks like when hate comes to Main Street. This propaganda video was produced by the neo-Nazi group known as the Blood Tribe, documenting its march back in February through the heart of downtown Nashville, a march that echoed familiar anti-immigration views. It followed a similar show of force back in November by members of the so-called Tennessee Active Club, the same group that interjected itself last fall into Gabrielle Hanson's unsuccessful race for mayor in Franklin, Tennessee.
FBI lies! Children die!
That same month, another anti-Semitic group, the so-called National Justice Party, took to Nashville streets with its own anti-LGBTQ message.
Yeah, they different ones.
And this is also what happens when hate comes to Main Street.
The struggle for gay rights drags on. Stand against this sinful sickness today.
Larry Turnley was recently preparing for a roadside cleanup project in historically black North Nashville when he first spotted a KKK flyer.
And it had a black man, so an image of what would appear to be a black man with a white woman hugging her, and she had a black eye.
It's pretty disgusting. It's very disgusting.
Yes.
And there were more.
I found one in front of this gray car and one right where those yellow things start.
So, and just lying on the pavement?
Yeah, just lying on the pavement.
Look.
One in the, look, you just found one.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Another one.
Another one.
This one we soon discovered carried a message printed in both Spanish and English that, quote, all illegals must go. Do you feel violated?
Oh, yes, because it's holy ground. This holy ground with the history here in this community.
We're here in the case of Tennessee versus Daniel Lane Walls, case number
And here inside the Murray County Courthouse, where an 18-year-old black man was lynched from the second-story balcony nearly a century ago, Daniel Walls was just sentenced to 3 years in jail for civil rights intimidation. Walls was the grand wizard of the Old Glory Knights of the Ku Klux Klan, the group shown here in this cross burning. Last year, he and an accomplished plastered area black churches with his own racist flyers.
It does show us that for whatever reason, they see Tennessee as a battleground.
Jeff Tischhauser is senior researcher with the Southern Poverty Law Center. He says racist graffiti and flyers provide a glimpse into the rise of hate in Tennessee. SPLC says the number of racist flyers shot up from a reported 21 in 2018 to a whopping 268 last year. And Tennessee had the fifth largest number of racist flyer incidents last year, just behind Virginia, Texas, New York, and California.
So there's something going on in Tennessee that gives these groups hope, which is, again, a very big concern for us at the SPLC.
Ms. Henson, the people you're with have described themselves as literal Nazis. Is this the type of people you should be associating with? In the case of Gabrielle Hanson, the flyers were clearly designed to intimidate people that the white supremacists perceived to be standing in their candidate's way.
Having your face put up on a flyer around Franklin and saying you're part of Antifa, that hasn't happened in at least, I've been doing this work for about 10 years. I haven't seen it.
They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They're rapists.
These days, groups like the Blood Tribe wrap themselves in the anti-immigrant message of Donald Trump.
I want people to come into our country in the largest highest numbers ever.
Perhaps hoping that the time is right for Americans to embrace their own brand of hate. And in fall 2022, prominent Tennessee Republicans participated in a rally against gender care for children that drew a broad cross-section of religious conservatives, along with more blatant anti-LGBTQ protesters and far-right Proud Boys, a neo-fascist group known for its violent clashes with its enemies.
They look at the demographics here, they look at the policymakers here, and they see that they might have an in trying to push them and maybe Tennesseans in general to get, to become more extreme.
If you just look at the rhetoric that's being spewed from up at the state capitol, and not only the rhetoric, just I would say the laws and the policies that's being legislated.
It's not a huge jump in your mind.
No, not at all.
Larry Turnley says it's time for Tennessee's leaders to take a stand. And just like the Blood Tribe's own video shows, what may be required is the courage of people who, like a young man on this day, chose to confront hate rather than remaining silent.
Yeah, I mean, you guys know what you guys are doing.
So they have to poison the well with lies and manipulation.
Like, you have a heart in there, don't you?
Coming in.
Powerful words there. I don't know who that young man is, although I sure would like to know. Jeff Tischhauser with the Southern Poverty Law Center said what you saw in this video is why his group is concerned about the upcoming election season, with groups that talk a lot about potential violence, may even be preparing for it.
So what can people do?
Well, experts say number one is don't put your head in the sand, recognize it and do what we're doing, call it out. Especially political language of any stripe that dehumanizes people, whether it's African Americans, immigrants, or members of the LGBTQ community. Just basic human decency.
You're right.
Thank you.
Just disgusting, but it's going to take everybody calling it out to really make a change. Phil, thank you for your reporting.